Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Simons, and this is Ashley Simons, the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about tips for university and Tafe, and that's because I'm probably going to go to university next year part-time, and well, well, you know, I just want this to be a bit of a marker for me to sort of come back and say, well, these are the things that I find important to pass and be healthy and sustained. So, might be talking about tips today for study. Okay. The microphone swings. All right. If I just sort of go and touch it, and there we go. Stop. That's my OCD. What did I do today before we blast off? Well, a client was coming tonight. They didn't make it, but it forced me to prepare, and so now I'm filming a podcast instead of doing one for a client. But had a good day. Went to Sombreros for the first time in a while, and that was nice. Been getting into a bit of a routine recently where I go out for food or whatever and just leave the house in this kind of chaos that is life at the moment. Okay, so I've titled this on my phone. Man, there should be screensaver settings on a phone. Okay. Beating tertiary education with depression. That's what I called it on my phone. All right. Yes, I did record. Yeah, recording. All right. Tell your teachers you have depression and you appreciate any extra help or checking in. Just giving yourself extra expectations, in general is kind of a good thing. I've probably written this somewhere else, but someone wise and on the internet once said, rock up early to your first class and then sit in the first row and keep sitting in the first row and engage with questions. And if you can keep that up for the whole semester, you probably do homework more often just because it's expected that you're a studious student, and you're trying to live up to those expectations. Yeah. Introduce yourself to your peers around you and take an interest in their success. So offer help. Say if you know a lot about a particular subject, go. I was a web developer, and I can help if you need it. Yeah. This is just a general mental health thing, but keeping consistent bedtime, get up time, look after your sleep hygiene. A few just general mental health things are whipped into this. This is a bit unique. I think it's a pretty good insight on my part after years of working. Make your work easy to start. People often want to finish strong instead of start easy. And really, if you use the Pomodoro method, the timer goes off and you stop and you're in the middle of typing something, and that could be code or whatever, and it's like the OCD in you wants to finish that stuff, you stop immediately, and the next day you have something to go on with on your Pomodoro starts, and you have to finish that sentence. So I say make your work easy to start. Make it compelling to start rather than satisfying to finish. Leave it unfinished for the next day if you're almost finished. What someone wise once said on a TED Talk, be the best student in the worst organization. And I think that's wise in one sense, but after speaking with my cousin, who's like attempted a few degrees, his argument is pick the best institution and then pick the easiest subjects that you're interested in at that institution, and leave anything you really need to know to your own personal study. That's probably wise. Pick a degree you are good at but has variety. Like, if you pick a specialized subject for 4 years and by the end of that 4 years you don't like the subject anymore, then you're kind of screwed. If you pick a subject with 2 or 3 majors to choose from and 6 months in you want to swap, you just swap the major and everything's hunky-dory. Pick a degree where you like the most amount of subjects rather than the overall title. And this was pretty important for me. I would go on the websites and actually drill down and look at each subject for the entire degree. And you'd be surprised. Like, you might have a generic degree at one university and it's half filled with mandatory subjects, half electives. And then you might have another degree at another place and you like it's all mandatory subjects and you like every single one of those subjects. And you don't know until you look at the subjects whether or not you're really gonna like the degree. So don't be fooled by titles. Find a private tutor if you can afford one. I am probably going to get a mental health service where they just come to your house and sit there and work with you as you complete the goals that you want to. And so that'll probably come for me to just get up early, start on my homework, or go for a walk, start on my homework. Hopefully I can keep that service going for a while. And hopefully don't stop it before university starts. Like, it's, free clinic, so you never know what's going to come. Find other people you can study with. So be really social at your lectures. Introduce yourself to people. When you're at the next lecture, introduce yourself to the same people plus more people. Chat to people, and there'll probably group assignments and stuff, and just do your best to be social and outgoing and connected to everyone. Before you apply, find online courses and tutorials to test if you like the topic. Yeah, I don't know. That's the right advice, I suppose. I think, or at least with me, by the time you're 30, you kind of know the sorts of things you're going to enjoy and not enjoy. I'm probably going to enjoy really practical subjects at TAFE or university. And I'm really self-conscious that one subject I'm interested in, which is film, is going to be filled up with watch a movie and analyze the scenes and write an essay. So yeah, I'm kind of self-conscious about that. But I've done a lot of online tutorials, like online courses that are like $20. So if you could buy that before spending $10,000 a year or whatever on university, then that's worth it. Pick an organization that is far away enough that you get in some mindful travel time, but not so far that you wear yourself out. So for me, I'd like to go to Flinders University, but it's an hour and 10 minutes away. It's looking like I'm going to go to McGill University, UniSA. It's like 30 minutes drive away um instead of an hour and 10. I think it's going to be plagued with like slow roads, like uh car crashes and stuff, and it's just gonna, one day it will take 20 minutes to get there, the next day it will take 35. But I guess that's better than an hour and 10 in one sense. But I find an hour's drive to be very useful. If you've got anxiety, and you find driving relaxing and mindful, that's great. Like I would almost make the argument the people that have to do 2 hour train rides on a train to get to their work, like, and then they do a 9-10 hour day, they're doing that like because they're treating their anxiety by doing a mindful activity for an hour or two before you make it to work. I wouldn't want to travel for 2 hours because I live in Adelaide and I live the good life. um, but yeah, I would just make the argument that the longer you have to travel, especially if it's by car, then you're like treating your anxiety before you even get to work. And I'd argue that's why a lot of people are less successful working from home than yeah, than at work. Have rewards for study milestones. Like have little rewards for doing 1 or 2 Pomodoros. Have little rewards, or have medium rewards for doing a whole day of Pomodoros. Have huge awards for getting to the week and studying every day. Like going to the cinema on a Saturday if you studied Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Um, yeah. Look after your general mental well-being, and for me, that's probably going to mean, well, in the past, what I've done poorly is booking fun things in advance, like always having that lunch date or whatever, and your friends might be like at work, but you can meet them for lunch near their work, and then go off and get an ice cream by yourself. Go off for a walk, get an ice cream. Um, yeah. Uh, that is probably bringing up my tips. Um, I'm thinking this mental health service that's going to potentially just come to my house and go for a walk and sit with me whilst I start studying for the day is probably going to be a game changer. Um, I'm going on a mood stabilizer, and uh, that's probably going to be a game changer as well. Um, I'm starting to have more and more, I guess, clients for the podcasting stuff, and so that kind of just keeps you honest. Like, I have to get up at 8 a.m. because I need to get some uni work done before so and so comes at night or whatever. And if you have a bad day but you have a client booked, then you feel good the next day having filmed for that client the night before. So if you can, start a hobbyist business and book them at night or book them at a time that like you have no excuses for turning up to. and then feel good about doing something, and then hopefully that moves its way onto you doing good things in university. Do I buy into pick the best organization and then pick the best easiest subjects? I think I do. I think I really need to find some Flinders University students, especially ones that have perhaps been to UniSA before, and that would be great. Like, if they could tell me whether Flinders is a good school, whether it's too serious for itself. There's a couple of degrees I was kind of interested in that you have to interview for and do a portfolio for, a show reel, and I don't know. I just feel like you're giving someone $30,000. Why are they picky? Like, surely if if I pass the stat test, just let me give you money to study rather than block people out. Uh, to be a little bit clearer, one of those degrees was a screen degree. It's very uppity, like make films, and they even have like a film camera, and they go send the film off to be developed in Sydney and come back. And I just feel like sell that camera, spend 100 grand on a new digital camera, and let's cut that delivery time down from 2 weeks to get developed to like it's on my memory card right now. Um, uh, so really, I'm really thinking UniSA just because it's a half an hour drive, and when they move into the city, it'll be a 45-minute bus. With the 15 minutes waiting for the bus, but I guess I might be able to go on YouTube on my phone on the bus or whatever. But I think I'll be too busy kind of like just enjoying the bus ride most of the time. Yeah, thinking like film and TV. Uh, that will be right up my podcasting business alley. Or like digital media or something to do with game development. The game development at UniSA doesn't seem overly strong. It's like one major is all programming subjects plus one or two game subjects. Another major is games, and it's all design subjects. And you probably don't do very little programming. You might do some 3D modeling maybe and throw it into an engine, but I don't think there's much coding going on. At Flinders University, there's an interactive interaction design, like interaction. I don't know. Let's just call it an interaction degree, where you know you do art, you do 3D modeling, you do game programming. I suppose you do serious games as well a bit, and you probably do like touch the button and the room lights up and the discos spin. Like, maybe not quite that, but it's just like, what gimmick could you put at a phone booth or, well, at a booth at a event, and what interaction gimmick could you bring to that, and not just fun video games, not just serious games, but interaction design. And it's got art subjects, it's got programming subjects, and I do like programming. I am in a bit of a rut right now with programming. But I'm sure that will pass, and it passes when I have meaningful work to do. And as the podcast business grows, potentially then I will on sell to do websites and stuff. Um, potentially. But right now, just doing the lightest amount of work possible with the podcasts, and it's just like a fun social thing to do. You're just in the room as people talk, and it's a bit funner than well, it's just easier to do than programming. Programming is like I have to just keep working and working for 6 weeks to 12 months, right? Whereas a podcast is like you film it, it's over. I've automated everything, and it's just yeah. I think you should get used to like looking at cameras, but we'll get there. All right. I think that about does it for me. Let's switch to the intro and the title and put the music on and say this is the end. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Ashley Simons. You're listening to Ashley Simons, the podcast. And yeah, we're done.